This is a very unique video you will not really see me post often. And I'm not making this for views, I'm not making this for clout, I'm not making this for any intention like that. I'm making this video for me to look back and reflect and be happy that I got through this period of my life. And I'll give you some context. At the start of the year, I was in Dubai with a couple of friends. And then I went to London, and now I'm in Marbella in Spain, and it looks beautiful. You know, the sun is out, I'm at the beach, and everything looks good. And on top of that, my business is on track to hit an all-time high month this month. And you know, things are genuinely really, really good. From the outside, I look like I'm living the dream. But from the inside, I fucking hate my life right now. And to give you some context on that behalf, I recently broke up with my girlfriend a few days ago. And we dated for over a year and a couple months. And it was genuinely one of the best years of my life. Because of her, because of the experiences we built, and because of the fact that, you know, I came to where I am today, which is a very, very good position to be realistic. She saw my entire, you know, come up, if you will, and she saw me build everything, and she saw me work a job that I hated. And she was with me for the entirety of the time, and she never once was with me for money or for any of these malintentions. And a few days ago, I made the decision that, you know, we had to break up. And we were kind of doing long distance. And if you've ever tried to do long distance, it fucking sucks. But before I dive into everything, like I said, this video is not to, you know, get anything out of it. This video is for me to look back and say, I'm very happy I got out of that moment of my life, because it was a very unhappy moment of my life. But yeah. We started dating a year and a while ago, and I think when we were dating, I was working a supermarket job. And from the get-go, it was pretty fucking difficult. And I started dating her right, not like going out, but I started dating her right when I was meant to be leaving to travel Europe. So I worked a supermarket job for about a year, I think, give or take. Or maybe 6 months or something like that, with the intention of just making money so I could go and travel. And I solo traveled Europe with the money I made, but I started dating her right before I left, which was a big mistake from the beginning, but I don't regret it. And I'm not going to say her name, or I'm not going to say too much about her, but she is genuinely one of the best people I ever met, and she's always had such good intentions, and that's what makes it even more difficult, because I feel like I'm putting her in a very difficult position, but obviously even long distance is a really shitty position to be in. But let me go back to what I was saying. We started dating, and we started dating when I was already done the supermarket job and I was ready to leave in a few weeks. I was just saying goodbye. I was celebrating Christmas with my family. I was doing all these things. It was winter. I just had to enjoy the last few moments before I left, and then we started going on dates. And from there, you know, we started doing kind of long distance dating. We weren't like going out, but we were doing long distance dating. And there was a moment where I was traveling, and you know, there wasn't a lot of intention behind what I was doing. I was just kind of traveling aimlessly. And if you've ever done that, especially solo traveling, it gets really depressing really fucking quickly, and you get really lonely. Traveling was some of the best experience of my life. And dating her was some of the best experience of my life. But it was also very, very tough moments. When I was traveling Europe and I felt like I had no purpose, I got really fucking sad, and I got really lonely, and I really missed the people back at home. Like her, my family, my friends, my mom, all these people. And I decided to go back for a very short moment, and that's kind of where, like, we went from, obviously we were already dating, to taking things on a more serious level, where I asked her to be my girlfriend. And it just felt right, and I trusted my intuition. It was a very shitty moment, because I knew I'd be leaving again after that week, or after those few days that I was in Ireland, and then I left again to go travel Europe. So I did that, I left, I came back again, I left again, and it was just really fucking difficult, because every single time I left, I just felt shittier over and over and over again. I was like, why am I doing this to myself? And more importantly, why am I doing this to her? Because she doesn't deserve this. She's a very good person. She's always had good intentions. I was her first boyfriend. She was my first girlfriend. And I was also meant to go to Budapest for a month in May, I believe it was, last year, which is now nearly a year ago. And I talked to her and I said, hey, do you want to come with me? Long story short, she came with me. So at this point, we were already dating, and I asked her in between my travels. So we were taking it more seriously, and I was still, like, we were boyfriend-girlfriend, and I was still traveling. And we stayed together in Budapest for a month, and it was some of the best experiences of my life. I got really good at dealing with stress, and I got really good at like communicating with people, and I just had a really good time all around. Like, we met some of her friends in Budapest, we met some of mine, and we just did really cool shit all around. Or, well, we didn't really meet mine. I met one, well, she was already gone. She stayed for most of the month. But I learned a lot about myself, and I learned a lot about her. And I think at that point, we were already dating for a few months, so the scariest thing you can do with someone, or something, that like someone you've just started dating, is put yourself in a position where you were constantly with them. And I did exactly that. We stayed together for a month, and it was a really good period of our life, and it really felt like we were already dating for years at that point. And I came back, and you know, at this point I was meant to go to college, and I was working a fun fair job. She wasn't really working, and I hated that fucking job, and she already saw me like, you know, transition into online stuff and start making money again, because of the fact that I hated that fucking fun fair job. And the people around me were really, like, genuinely just alcoholics and drug addicts, and she witnessed all of that, and she witnessed my growth. And she saw me really come up from nothing to where I am today, to where we're on track to do really good numbers this month with the business. And we really grew together. I think that's the most difficult fucking thing. But I ended up breaking up with her a couple days back, and I spoke to my mom, and I spoke to multiple people about it. And you know, like I said, I was in Dubai, I was in London, so my communication was worse than ever because I didn't really have much time to reply. Whether I was with friends, whether I was just busy, whether I was mentally occupied. But I noticed one thing that really sticks out in my head. And that was that at one point we were on a call. I think we were calling 2-3 times a week and speaking throughout the days on DMs. And we were on a call, and I was just being really dry like I usually was because I found it really difficult to fucking communicate for some reason. I don't know if I'm the only person who ever deals, well, obviously other people deal with it, but I'm not sure if it's just me, but I found it really difficult to communicate and tell her how I was feeling and how everything was. So I was speaking to her, and I told her, hey, like, do you want to hear what happened? And she got really excited. And I thought about it after, and I was like, why did she get really excited when I said, do you want to hear what happened today? It was because I was just that fucking shit at communication to a point where she felt she was just talking to a wall. And I was giving her nothing to work with, and it was probably just a really shitty feeling all around. And I said, I can't do this to her. Like, it's more important than me. It doesn't really matter how I feel about this relationship, whether I wanted to continue, whether I don't want it to continue. I did, obviously, because I really fucking loved and still do. But I talked to my mom, and I realized that like I'm just being selfish and I'm being greedy. And like I said, for context, I've never had a girlfriend. She's never had a boyfriend, so we've never really experienced any of this. But I spoke to her when I came back from London that same night, and I just told her we had to, like, you know, end things. And I had a whole speech written out, and I had this whole thing, and I sent her sister a message on her family's behalf. It was very easily the most difficult thing I've ever fucking done. And you know, like, I built a business from scratch, and I'm on track to do amazing things with my life, and I've traveled Europe, and I've went to so many countries, and I've met so many cool people. Breaking up with her was one of the best things oh my God. Dating her was one of the most amazing things I've ever done, especially for experience and just genuine enjoyment in my life. Breaking up with her was the most difficult thing I've ever done. Genuinely. And it fucking ate me from the inside. And I don't know if you guys have ever broken up with someone, but you write everything out and you're prepared, and you get on call or you talk to them in person, and you think everything's gonna be okay, and you think you're gonna be okay. And then I got on the call and I kind of started speaking to her, and before I could even break out what I was trying to say or make out what I was trying to say, I started just breaking down. And you can imagine what happened. She started doing it too, and it was just a very tough position to be in. This video isn't, to flex the luxury of, or the pleasures of Spain, or the happiness of running a business. There's gonna be stress and there's gonna be sacrifices you have to make, but I'm very much at that point where I'm looking at what I'm doing and I'm like, what the fuck? I've dropped out of college, and I told my parents I was moving out for the first time ever. And I've been alone for a couple months with a friend of mine so I'm not alone really, but we're living together, we're both making money online together and stuff. And I've now broken up with my girlfriend, who I love so much, and I've now sacrificed my entire life for what I'm doing today. And I guess that's what business is. If you want to commit to something, and you want to do really well in one aspect of your life, you need to commit everything you have to it. But God, is it a shitty fucking feeling? Because I know I'm going to look back, and I know I'm going to say it was the right thing to do, and I know, breaking up with her was the right move for herself and for me, and I was being greedy by not breaking up with her because I was holding her back from, experiencing her life, really. But God, are there moments where I just want to break a wall? It is not fun. And I don't know how good I am at expressing myself, but it is not fun at all. Like, I'm in Spain, I'm living a lot of people's dreams, and I've really worked hard, and I work every single day for what I'm doing today, and I try to balance nice things, and I try to live a good quality of life. And I will, and I am. And I'm really happy with where I'm at, but fucking, oh my. I don't want to use the Lord's name in vain. But it's not fun. And I don't think anybody could have prepared me for this. I don't think anybody could have prepared me for the fact that I would have to sacrifice everything I have to get to where I want to be. And I'm not saying I regret it, and I'm not saying I don't wish I started, because I'm very happy of where I'm at, and I'm very proud of myself. And there's only been 1 or 2 moments in my life where I've been proud of myself. But it's a really tough period of my life. And I don't know how long it's going to go. And after a few days I start feeling slightly better, and then I'm reminded by the fact that I'm all alone. Because breaking up with her felt like, when you're 12 or you're 12, 13, 14, and you start getting consciousness and you realize, holy fuck, I'm alone in this world. Nobody else is with me. I'm born alone, I'm gonna die alone, and there's nobody else with me. I have friends or I have people that support me, but it's all just me. When you have a girlfriend, you start to get ignorant and you realize maybe you are with someone until it all ends, and then you say, no, I'm not. And that's kind of how things feel right now. I'm living with my roommate, and we speak obviously throughout the day and stuff, but I find it very tough to communicate myself even now with him. I've never been a bad person at communicating. I think long distance really got in my head with my girlfriend. That's why I couldn't really communicate myself too well. But there's just times where I want to say something and then I say, no, I don't. I think it's better to just stay quiet and realize that I'm alone, so I might as well say things in my own head and keep it there. And I think I'm on an okay path now, and I think I can definitely recover, and I'll feel better and I'll do better. But I think I can very easily go down the wrong path if I'm not careful. If I don't start communicating myself, if I don't start really speaking to people, and I have been doing it a little bit, but I need to be really careful right now. Because my life can get really bad in a very short time span. But yeah, regarding the business side of things, I have a very clear vision on what I want to do. And I'm really excited for the future, but I thought I should just make this video for my own personal documentation, because this is what this channel is for me. I think moments like this make you realize, or make you ask yourself, that is it all worth it? And I know it is, and I know I'm going to look back and I'm going to say that was a really good period of my life, and I'm very happy I did this, and I know it was the right thing to do. But right now it's just tough, man. It is very tough right now. I think I've realized in the past few days that money isn't anything. And I've known this for a while, and I have a friend who I met recently, and he's worth a lot of money. His family are billionaires. But he's one of the most down-to-earth and most humble people I've ever met, and I really like him for that, because he's still trying to build something of his own, even though he's come from something and he doesn't need to. But he's a really genuine person. I really see myself being friends with him long term, and he's just a really cool dude. And he's been helping me through this kind of period, and he's kind of told me that he went down something like that a couple years back. But I think if I was associated to money right now, I'd be fucking ruined. I think if I put so much emphasis and I cared so much about making more money and having more money in my bank account, my life would be very different, and I'd be very unhappy. I'm at a very happy point in my life right now, and this is just a bump in the road, and I genuinely believe that. But this is one of those moments where I'm really glad that I have past experiences, making money or trying to do things, because if I didn't, God knows I'd be ruined right now. But yeah, when I record my next video, maybe it's in a week, maybe it's 2, maybe it's 3, I should hopefully feel better, a little bit. And I definitely feel better since the past few days, because after I woke up, I felt like it was a fever dream. But that's everything that's on my mind, really. That's the main thing I can communicate. I know what I need to do from here, and I know how to progress. And I think I need to make sure I keep track of my sleep, and I eat well, and I still go to the gym, and I'm productive. I slept 12 hours last night. I think I need to be careful, otherwise I can go down a very dark path. But yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. I'm excited to look back at this and say that was a really weird period of my life, but I did the right thing. But yeah, I'll see you guys soon. And if you do watch until the end, thank you. It means a lot. But yeah, see you guys soon.